Good afternoon, folks. This is going to be my review of the AcePro Insta360's new action camera. So I've owned it for probably about 6 weeks now, 7 weeks. But as we're now mid-February, the weather in the last 6 weeks up in the Scottish Highlands has been pretty appalling. Just gonna maybe give some of my thoughts on this piece of kit, whether or not it's worth buying one. Oh, sort of coming from a previous GoPro, Hero 9 I believe it was, which is a great camera, but had its flaws. Yeah. So yeah, so far the AcePro has impressed me, not least with its build quality. It's so responsive. It's also got a few tricks up its sleeve where, you know, utility is questionable, but some of the features are new and incredibly useful. So first of all, the GoPro Hero 9. And I remember before I'd always been a DSLR mirrorless shooter. Coming from larger cameras like that, it was like a revelation to me that you could get such good image quality out of a device that was so small. The GoPro shot at 5.3K, and the image, with the caveat of it being in perfect lighting conditions, was stunning. I was recently looking at a lot of my footage from San Francisco, and sometimes you'll be looking at the picture quality and it's hard to believe that it actually came out of an action camera. When I first got the camera, switched it on, I remember thinking, wow, this is horrible. What have I done with my money? It's just not good. Thanks, guys. It's that horrible action camera slash mobile phone. Hi guys, passing on your right. Thank you. Oh, sorry. No, you're all right. And the colours were completely oversaturated, and like not in a good way. Like, I'm talking luminous green, like radioactive red. Just looked cheap and nasty. But I mucked about with the settings, and eventually got it all dialed into a point where it was all looking pretty good. The camera that I'd come from before that was the Sony A6300 with the Sigma 16mm lens, which is, as you probably know amongst filmmakers, kind of legendary. And so there was a high bar. The problem with the A6300 was that it had basically non-existent stabilization, and locked off on a tripod. It looked absolutely beautiful. The image was like, wow. But the moment you tried to move that camera around, nah, it just looked so amateurish because of the shaky footage. And you know, you try warp stabilizer and Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve, and you get all these strange warpy effects. So then, yeah, GoPro came along in phenomenal stabilization. Kind of crazy, everything looks like it's on a gimbal. But there was a couple of huge shortcomings with that camera that after probably about a year and a half, 2 years of use, I wasn't prepared to deal with anymore. The first one was, I don't know if it was a lack of processing power or some sort of shoddy glass that they used on the back of the camera, but every time I would try and make a selection, it wouldn't take it 2 or 3 times in a row. And yeah, it was maddening. Like, after, you know, you'd be sitting there sometimes for like 10 seconds just trying to get a camera to record or to change modes, and so it just wasn't an ideal solution. And you kind of think like, wow, it's 2022 or whatever it was, and we're still dealing with this. It felt like the processor on the camera wasn't powerful enough to run the device, and it was like that out of the box. So I'm not sure where they've gone wrong, if they're cheaping out on processor or if it's just the nature of you know, whatever touchscreen display it is they have in the back. But yeah, just wasn't a pleasure to film, you know. So then enter the AcePro by Insta360. So straight away switched the camera on, and I knew instantly this experience was going to be so much better because everything was just as responsive as an iPhone. It was just packed with features, and I'm not sure if you know, but there is a mode on the AcePro called PureVideo Mode, and I remember filming after work one day in the centre of the town that I'm living in. They had Christmas decorations and Christmas lights throughout the centre of the town. I've actually lost the footage. If I can find it, I'll stick it up now, but I think unfortunately that got deleted. But mind-blowing, and like so close to what you would expect from a mirrorless. Literally zero grain, because the AcePro has a processor on board which is incredibly powerful for an action camera, which allows it to process and do noise reduction algorithms in real time. So you end up with really clean footage. Thank you. Hey, going past on the right, thank you. And it's almost unbelievable when you see that. This is something completely new. It's better than any phone or action camera that I've ever seen. And although it's not perfect, it's come a long way, and the footage is usable, I'm pleased to report. So that's great. Another huge benefit with the AcePro is that I know that all action cameras have a photo mode on them, but it's always felt like an afterthought. And when you've got a phone in your pocket, you would just take photographs on your phone. But then the reality of that is that you're like jumping between two devices all the time. But the camera mode, or photo mode I should say, on the AcePro, wow, 48 megapixel RAW. I don't know if it's just that slightly larger sensor that supposedly it shares with the Osmo Action. But I pulled I took some photos on the AcePro just to see if it would be viable, you know, and pull them into Capture One, editing software, and the amount of detail that was retained, and there's actually quite a lot of bandwidth to change the image and get it Instagram worthy, you could say. That 48 megapixel packs in so much data into each image that there's a lot of range in what you can do. So yeah, there's another huge benefit in my opinion. So I tried the, I mean, as I say, the weather's been really horrible up here. This is literally the first day that I've had off where there's been like half decent weather, and so yeah, back there I had a little attempt at a time lapse. So I'll put that up on the screen now. So what else? Mounting options. The obviously everyone knows the GoPro thumb screw. That is kind of like a standard now of action camera attachments. But the AcePro have addressed what was also a huge problem, was that if your fingers were really cold, which you can imagine up in the Highlands is a constant problem during half of the year, it would be an absolute nightmare to unscrew the camera to take it from say a tripod to a harness or something along of that nature. And so yeah, Insta360 have addressed that issue with it's essentially like a quick release mount. I'll stick it somewhere up on the screen so you can see it, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It just press a button, the thing's unclipped, and when it is clipped in, it's so strong. I mean, it's such a strong connection, so you're not concerned that it's gonna go haring away off into the distance. So that's awesome. That was a big problem. Now what I would say is that there's a plastic one that comes with the camera, and that is horrible. I don't know if it's just a problem with the one I have, but it's like horrible. It takes so much effort to clip it in, and it just feels cheap and just like really bad quality control or something. But jump on to AliExpress, I'll put the link in the description, and you can actually buy one that's made out of, I'm not sure what it is, like titanium or pewter or some sort of metal, and it seats into the camera with perfectly, and it's strong, and yeah, so then you're in a situation where flipping between having it on the harness and having it in a tripod is just no effort whatsoever, you know, which then results in you managing to get more footage with less effort. So a huge win there. So what have we got? The app. So the app's pretty good. A lot of people think it's the best thing since sliced bread. For me, it's almost like another unnecessary step. I understand that it does have a lot of capabilities. There's some of the stuff you can do in it is really impressive. For example, the AI prompt sort of effect, which I'll get into in a bit, but that's for me, you know, I'm never going to video edit videos on a phone. I'd rather just get the files onto in the Final Cut Pro or DaVinci Resolve and do all my editing there on a nice big widescreen display. But you know, maybe I'm old-fashioned. It just feels kind of more natural to me. But yeah, it's a solid app, I would say. But yeah, it's sort of, some of those features are a little bit wasted on me, to be honest. You know, as I say, I do everything in Final Cut Pro. It's where I've got all my effects. It's just faster. So what else? So yeah, so the artificial intelligence. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was so impressed, and I would just like bombard people with AI generated videos, which I'm sure they were all very bored of quickly enough. After you've had it for about a month or two, nah, sort of just a gimmick, right? Because it has such a specific look to it that, you know, you could use it in maybe one video once, and then that's it done. Ah, yeah. Yeah, and then so yeah, it's a bit like the orbit effect with DJI drones. Really cool when you first see it, but once you've seen it, you know. So what else we got? Accessories. So I bought the rubberized case for it. Again, I think I actually bought one from AliExpress and one from Amazon by mistake. They were slightly different, but I've actually got it on the camera right now. A little bit flimsy. Something that's really annoying is the flip-up screen at the back always seems to get caught on that rubber case. And you know, it's a small thing, but it's just the quality's not there. So my gut feeling is, if you're desperate to get a case on your AcePro when you get it, just buy the sort of metal one. I can't remember the company. Is it like? I don't think it's Ulanzi. It's one of these sort of Chinese, cheap Chinese camera sort of accessory companies. You see them on Amazon. They look a lot better because you're not going to get the flippy screen caught on it constantly. I also was really concerned about the lens, which you know, it's non-replaceable. Although I was reading that it's only stuck on with a piece of like some kind of glue. Thank you, cheers. So yeah, there is a way. I'm just I'll be honest, you know, I'm not the kind of guy who likes to rip things apart that I've just spent about 500 quid on. I'm sure it's fine. So I bought a polarizing filter that goes on it kind of goes on the top of it goes on the top of the lens, just sort of like slips on quite snugly. And I thought that was going to be one of the best solutions. So the idea was that, you know, if it got damaged, then it would be easy to replace. It only cost about £5 or something on AliExpress. But it was really strange. I had a little test of it a few days ago on the way to work, and basically the image just looked really cloudy. I'm not sure if it was just due to the kind of weather conditions or. Yeah, so with that rubber case, it also came with a rubber lens cover. So I'm back to using that, just as a sort of safety precaution. It's quite a strong wind right now, so kind of interesting to see how well the camera picks up my voice, like, because that, I have noticed that's something that the camera's sort of been getting a bit of a rough time for, the microphone quality. So we'll see. Supposedly the DJI, I forget the name of it, the DJI mic is compatible with this camera, so that could be an option. Which seems like a really nice bit of kit. So yeah, I think that's about us.